Buenos dias on this Green Tuesday. Today, I will be sharing with you my DYM, my Dymension airdrop strategy. And also we'll talk about a big news coming out from Stride. But first of all, let's look into what Cosmos is doing as an ecosystem. Like I said, today it's green. I also saw some tweets that the net inflows for the Bitcoin spot ETF are actually going up. So TradFi money is coming in slowly but surely. And at the same time, the grayscale sell pressure is kind of slowing down. At least the amount that is being sent to centralized exchanges to sell most likely is decreasing. But if we look into Cosmos, we can see that the top chains here are all in the greens. Atom, well, still below $10. Akash, trying to reclaim $3 here. Archway, 18 cents. Axelar, trying to approach $1 again. TIA, $18, which is crazy. And yeah, everything else pretty much green. The top winners today are Mars, Say, and Passage. All very, very exciting projects that are all up double digits in the green today. But let's start with some great news for today, which is that Stride just launched their first liquid staked token for 2024, which is stDYDX. And DYDX has been one of the most highly anticipated launches that migrated away from Ethereum and launched their own Cosmos Layer 1 blockchain just a few months ago. And with that, it also means that DYDX now is a staking token that secures the DYDX chain. If you stake DYDX regularly on the DYDX chain right now, you have a 30-day unbonding period. So if you want to unstake, you have to wait more than 4 weeks. And during that time, you're not accruing any staking rewards. And also, in case of a snapshot for an airdrop, you are not eligible for that, right? That also counts for any other Cosmos chain. If you're unstaking your tokens, during that unstaking period, you're not earning anything and you're also not considered for snapshots. But to add on here, the interesting thing for DYDX is also that the staking rewards are actually in USDC. And what Stride is doing is that they're auto-converting the USDC that is accrued and convert that back into DYDX so that you're actually accruing more DYDX and basically compounding your rewards. But for osmosis, be very careful here because there is very, very thin liquidity. So if you're trying to do a trade here, the slippage might be very, very high. So be careful on that. You also see there's now an stDYDX and DYDX pool that just launched, only has $17,000 in liquidity. But yeah, be careful here with those trades because you don't want to suffer high slippage to lose your tokens. Now you can go over here on app.stride.zone. The APY is 15.5%. Y means compounded. APR means just regular rewards. And when it's APY, it means it's compounded. So yeah, you can just come here, you can liquid stake, and then you'll see your rewards. And that's about it, right? There's also going to be an airdrop for DYDX. 100,000 STRD are allocated for that. So watch out for that as well. If you held DYDX before, you might be eligible for that airdrop. I want to talk about DYM. Dymension, briefly talked about it yesterday, that the redistribution is now complete. Your DYM is set and Genesis coming soon, which means launch is imminent, which means your airdrop claim is arriving in your wallet very, very soon. So you need to think today, what is going to be your strategy, right? When it comes to your airdrop strategy, I keep telling you that you can't really generalize. You can't say, okay, my experience with the past airdrop has been, to sell it immediately because I didn't do it. And then later the price went down and I should have sold in the beginning. So now, from now on, I'm always going to sell 100% of my airdrop, right? I don't think that you can really generalize your airdrop strategy. You have to really assess this on an individual basis, and that's what we're going to be doing today. I didn't think too much about it, to be honest, simply because I have just 1,000 things on my plate and things to do. But what I really encourage you to do is do proper research, look into, benchmarks. We saw, for example, Manta that launched recently that is also, in this TIA ecosystem that is now at a $3.5 billion fully diluted valuation and got listed also on major exchanges like Binance, Gate.io, Bybit, KuCoin, HTX, which is Huobi, and many more. Manta, however, is also invested by Binance. So those are the things you need to understand, right? Like who is an investor, what collaborations do they have behind the scenes, And most of these things are not like secret in like chats that you can't figure out, right? Like a lot of this stuff is public. So Manta launching on Binance obviously was a huge boost for their market cap, right? Same thing actually happened with Altlayer, which is also trending today. Altlayer, 42 cents with 10 billion supply implies a $4.2 billion fully diluted supply, fully diluted valuation, higher than Manta. And same for Alt. Both of them actually have been incubated and invested by Binance Labs. So Binance Labs being an investor in both of these projects and also the premier launchpad where these tokens went live in the first place. You can also see there's an Alt TRY pair, the Turkish lira, which whenever you see that, like this is like Turkish people are trading like crazy. They're trading insane. They have crazy volumes. It's a big market for traders. So when you see those things, you're like, okay, there's a huge base of traders for this coin and huge liquidity inflows potentially. But yeah, specifically Manta and Altlayer, they both had permanent VCs, permanent investors, and launched on Binance. If we look at DYM, Dymension is currently trading at $4.17, and they have a supply of 1 billion coins, which means 4.1 billion fully diluted valuation, which puts it into the same bucket as Altlayer and Manta. However, it's only trading here on this futures exchange called Evo, and this is not, this is not set in stone that will launch at this price. And this is just an indicator of what the market is pricing, the community is pricing 1 DYM before the coin even is fully launched, right? But what you can do is you can do your research, like I said. You can see, okay, who are the investors? How much money have they raised? What price? What's the tokenomics like? And you can find here Dymension, some information about the project and their lead investors. Like I said, I haven't done a deep dive research on that, but this is the last round I found, February 2023, which is pretty much a year ago, where they raised $6.7 million. And those are the investors. Big Brain Holdings and Stratos have been the lead investors, but that gives you an indication, right? And you don't see Binance here, you don't see anything else here. I'm not sure if Binance has invested in that at a later round or at a round for themselves. I don't know, because it's just a seed round. And of course, you can also look at their tokenomics. So the total supply is going to be 1 billion DYM tokens, and they have an inflation model that is actually modeled on Atom. The DYM inflation is pegged to the bonded ratio, which is the exact same case for Atom at 67%. So if more than 2/3 of DYM tokens are staked to the network, the inflation rate will go down to a floor of 1%. And if it's below 67%, it will go up to 10% maximum inflation rate, and it will start at 8% when it launches, right? So definitely when it launches, the staking ratio will be below 67%. So we will close the gap from 8 to 10 really fast, which means DYM will have an issuance rate or inflation rate of 10%. And then the more people stake, the staking APR will go down. If very few people stake in the beginning, the staking APRs could be very high, like 50, 60, 70%, maybe even 100%, like in the first hour or something. I don't know, but it depends how many people are staking. And yeah, then the more people stake, the more it will go down. And if 68%, 69%, 70% are staking, then we will slowly decrease down to 1% to the floor of 1%, right? This is actually, by the way, similar tokenomics than we almost got for Atom proposal 868 or whatever it was, that wanted to remove the 7% floor. So now we have DYM doing it and launching with it, which is interesting to see how that plays out. But I hope you get my point, right? So based on that information, right, we don't see Binance here. We don't see large VCs here. I don't know if that list is complete. Again, I haven't done a deep dive on a project and their investors. But if we say, okay, Dymension doesn't have Binance, it doesn't have all these VCs, and it's a rather a underdog compared to Alt and Manta. That's maybe the key differentiator, because those did have those investors and those networks. That might mean two things, right? Number one, the bullish case is that the fact all these big VCs missed out on that deal, on that investment, they will market buy or buy OTC, and then they will have skin in the game, and then they will promote it, bring more liquidity in, more volumes, and DYM will just go through the roof. The second path, the bearish path, could be the fact that they didn't invest means they just move on and they find the next play, right? And you know, DYM is not going to do as well as Manta, as well as Alt, you know, which, like, again, $4.2 billion market cap, that's quite steep. So the question is now, okay, with this airdrop that we're getting, and we just got more because a lot of people haven't claimed, we got like 15 to 20% more from the original allocation that we thought we would get. What is the strategy here, right? Below $3, I am not going to sell. I might just cash in like 5% or 10%, depends also like on that day when it comes out. Is there any like major crash in the market and DYM launches at $3 while Atom goes down to $5 or Osmo goes down to like 80 cents or you know, a flash crash or something like that? That can always happen, and that's always a possibility. So I never say like never, but below $3, I'm not planning to sell, at least not major positions for my airdrop. And at that level, my DYM airdrop is also a 5-figure airdrop, so it's quite substantial, right? And if you can just take a few $1,000s and put it into something else that might be down on that day, that's also quite nice, right? Below 50 cents, I will be a buyer. Below 50 cents, I'm going to buy DYM because I think it might be a good opportunity. Above $3, I will probably start taking some more chips off the table, which means I'm going to sell some DYM. You know, if it's above $3, above $4, above $5, I would just gradually sell more. If it does something completely stupid and goes to like $8 or $9 or even 10, I think I would sell most of my airdrop, because that actually is a decent 5-figure airdrop at that point for me. So that's kind of my rough strategy, considering also the staking APR and the narrative around airdrops within the DYM economy, and then see, is it what's my staking play, right? Like, at what price and at what APR do I consider staking X amount of my airdrop allocation? Me personally, simply because I have just so much going on, I can't like keep track of all that in depth. So what I end up doing in most cases, which is also what I did with TIA itself, is just stake most of it, because then it's like, it's locked, it's there, it's accruing value. I get airdrops in, you know, in case there are airdrops, and I just chill, right? I just stake most of it. I don't try to time exact peaks and lows and following all the exact news, watching every single podcast. It is time consuming, it is time intense. But then you also look at their Twitter and you're like, I don't know, man. Like, everyone's talking about it, 155,000 followers. And those are not like all, maybe some of them are bots or whatever, but they're not like bot followers. You can just verify that by their engagement, which is nuts. 879,000 impressions, 1.1. They also have a really cool Twitter game. I must really admit that. That's top-notch Twitter game. Short tweets, on the point, end of tweet, you know, like they have their own style, their own vibe. Also, Taiki is very bullish on them. Diamond handing, I also see that. Meme is already out there. The culture is being created, you know. And the fact that we all get this decent airdrop means you have an army of people that are excited and that are shilling this, right? So I don't think VCs or KOLs, content creators, are just ignoring this, right? And when Manta launched or Alt launched, Twitter was full. YouTube and Twitter was full for like a week with those projects. Now we have Dymension. I don't know if it's this week, if it's next week, the week after, no clue. But I just want you to prepare and to have a strategy before you move in, right? And please have your own strategy. Don't copy other strategies. Just have your own strategy. There will not be an additional claim for DYM airdrop. You already claimed it and you gave your ERC20 address. So if anyone is promising season 2 of an airdrop or new DYM airdrop, claim here, click this, click that, be very, very skeptic in general. Whenever you see these things, be very skeptic. And DYM will have a lot of scammers that will try to, you know, create impersonator fake accounts and get you to connect your wallet, and then you will lose everything. You might also be in a position where you say, hey, I have this bill to pay, I need to take care of some people, I need to do this, need to do that. there's nothing wrong with selling 80% of your airdrop, right? I would always keep a moon bag. I will say that. I don't think selling absolutely everything makes sense, unless you just don't care about a project, you don't believe in it. You know, you will not have regrets if it does a 10x after you're selling. If that's the case, then go ahead. But in most cases, my strategy is just to like at least keep some sort of moon bag, right? But yeah, that's about it. I'm curious to hear your DYM strategy, your airdrop strategy. Are you going to sell most of it? Are you going to keep it all? What is your buy zone? What is your sell zone? Let me know. And that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. We have a big week, actually. We have a Twitter Spaces today with the Asteroid team, tomorrow with Persistence and Omniflix. And we have an in-person interview with Brainjar from Picasso Network, round 2, Shishacito, and much more. Dubai is going to be full with crypto people this week. There's a lot of events, a lot of stuff happening. So big week. Let's get to it. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Stay safe and be good.